Welcome to the Daily HiFi Podcast. We do this every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. My name is Chana. With me, as always, we've got Mr. Joe Intel and Mr. Aaron Hardison. What's going on, fellas?
What up, man?
I don't even know I don't know what I'm gonna say. Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna say until it
totally
pops out. I'm
blank.
like, Aaron, audio corner.
Yeah, her.
There's a lot of purple going on here. That's all I know. Like Chana, the way it looks like you're like going into Aaron's screen. He's going like right into Aaron's screen right now. You're looking like the genie. You're looking like a genie.
Looking like a genie.
Hey, have you guys ever heard of that Mandela effect?
Yeah.
Right? Where you remember something that didn't actually happen?
Yeah.
So like one of them is that I'm looking up right now is that that Sinbad. Remember Sinbad?
Oh yeah, that thing.
Remember that guy Sinbad, the comedian?
Yeah.
Did he ever play in a 90s movie like where he was a genie?
Yes, he did.
I've heard about this. I don't remember him playing as a genie.
Huh?
I don't remember him playing as a genie.
But yeah, it said that never happened.
Oh.
They said I guess Shaq was a genie in Kazam.
Yeah.
But Sinbad, you know why I think it is? Because like that old Aladdin movie, I think it was called Sinbad and something.
Kazam?
Oh. Yeah, that's maybe
like, you know what I mean?
Misassociation or something.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's what happens.
Bless you.
Anyway, what's up to everybody in the chat? I see you guys.
What up? What's up, chat?
What up?
How's the chat doing tonight? Listen, we need super chat so we can hook Tim up with a free dinner.
Oh yeah.
So if anybody has any questions, you better do the super chat tonight.
Tim, congratulations to Tim and Darla celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary.
Yep.
30 years.
Oh, yeah.
We need to make it to where Tim can take his woman out on a nice date to celebrate their anniversary. So y'all hit up those super chats. I'm shilling like a villain.
That's right.
Shilling for Tim, shilling for the editor.
That's right.
That's a great shill, my man.
Yeah, any super chats, I'll make sure that they go directly to Tim.
I thought they already did.
Minus. Well, you know how they take out a cut.
Oh yeah, man, that sucks.
I'll take care of the cut. Right. So they go.
Wait, you're gonna lay in the cut?
Oh, I'll lay in the cut and I'll handle whatever YouTube takes out. I'll just make sure I'll take care of that part. It's like,
yeah, because YouTube takes like 30% or 30 or 40%.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So whatever you guys hook up Tim with for his anniversary, then I'll match it. It'll be like
that's nice.
Yeah.
You're gonna match it? Oh.
Yeah, I'll match it. How about that?
Very nice of you.
Whoopsie.
Oh, dang.
You better match it. You better match it, buddy.
You could have just sent that directly. Now it's minus 30%.
Oh.
Yeah, well, no, this is all part of the.
It's all good. It's all good. We're just having fun. Techno Dad getting the party started.
That's right.
There it is. I'll make that happen.
My purple shades off now.
I'm gonna go find me some shades so I can do some fresh hater Aaron.
Hey,
purple.
Hey, so the Mandela effect. Does anyone remember the name being spelled like that? I've talked to you about this before, Aaron.
Berenstain.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that before.
Do you remember that? No?
I remember.
Isn't it Stein? Like
I thought it was Stein.
Yeah, I thought it was Stein. Berenstein or Steen.
Yeah.
Berenstein's Bears. I mean, I don't know what's like. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about timelines melting into each other now, and we're just doing all these quantum leaps and stuff like that. Berenstein, says Angela. Yeah. I don't know.
It was Bernstein.
Spelling. I'm looking it up now.
Bernstein.
I don't know.
Aaron, get in the chopper.
Get in the chopper now.
There it is.
Eat your lunches. Why are you eating other lunches? Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we didn't really have like a whole lot of planned, but I did visit the theater. I went to the theater for the first time in like years.
Mm-hmm.
And was at the iPic Theater right here to go see, what was it?
Deadpool.
That's right. And my goodness, this place is awesome. This place is awesome. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I got my own like pod. This is like, oh yeah, it was Theater 5, my lucky number. I had some like sliders, and that wasn't the slider. But yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it's comfy, right? Did they give you a blanket too, or what?
yeah, there was a blanket. There was a blanket. And like, and what's funny is like, I'm usually in shorts. Like, I'm in shorts now, and so I went home to change out of the shorts just in case it got cold in there. But they give you a blanket, so I'm like, oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah. So did they sit you next to somebody that you didn't know?
Yeah, actually.
Was that weird or no?
I mean, let's see. You want to see the picture? It was cool. You know, it was cool.
Like you're spaced out enough where you're not like touching arms or anything.
Oh yeah. But you know, close enough to communicate.
Did you share the blanket or what?
Oh, I don't know. You know, a gentleman never tells.
Too much.
Yeah.
Gentleman never tells. Oh yeah. All right. We got a super chat from Van Gool also.
Van Gool. Big ups,
yeah.
Van Gool.
How do you guys listen to music in the car? I'm not sure what do you mean by how do you listen, but I listen to a lot of music in the car. And so the way I do it is I have I have an upgraded stereo where I can play, Android, whatever they call it. Like there's CarPlay and then whatever Android version of that thing is.
Android Play.
Yeah.
Android Drive. Is it Drive? And Drive.
Android Auto.
There it is.
So the moment I jump into the car, it connects, and then I stream from YouTube Music just because for me, like my playlists are all set and it kind of figures out what I want to hear based on the time of day, based on where I'm at. It's pretty good at figuring out what I want to hear, and I just play it and that's it. Done. I don't have to think about it. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny because we're showing the kids like the radio and they don't understand. Like you used to have to listen to commercials.
Oh yeah.
Like you didn't get to choose. Yeah. We're like, no, you didn't get to choose what song came on. You just had to listen to whatever was on. And
they don't watch TV though, do they?
We don't really watch too much TV, but
so then they wouldn't know what commercials are on TV either.
If you watch like the Olympics right now, there's a lot of commercials and stuff like that. Sure. Even if you pay for Peacock or whatever it is, you still have to watch ads, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, so that's how I listen in the car. I have a kind of like an upgraded stereo, have it all DSP'd out. I put the sound panels on the door so it sounds like, the doors sound better. Nothing crazy like Aaron's, but I have, instead of subs, because I don't really need a bunch of bass when I have all the, the kids don't like to listen to music loud, and I'm rarely by myself, so I ended up putting like those Encore B6s. I'm kind of using those as like kind of like subs because they have enough bass. I have a decent amount of bass. So in the van, there's like, these, I don't know, stow and go seats where the seats go underneath, but we never use that. So I just put the speakers under there and I cross them over low. And then I have another like little sub that I put, and then another JBL, like 2 8s or something, 2 6.5s in the back. So I have like 4 subs and I kind of have it all DSP'd. So I'm not trying to play loud bass, but just smooth is all I care about. So smooth bass. I have the whole thing all DSP'd out, and that's it. Sounds good, and I just enjoy my music that way.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Can you say DSP'd out one more time? I don't think we understood that.
DSP'd out, bro. I have a DSP'd out. Magic beans. I didn't say magic beans. You gotta say that one. What else?
You got it.
The bingo card.
Better to be DSP.
Oro 3D.
Oro 3D almost. No, it's actually like more like it's called Logic 7, that old school. It's not like, it's kind of like Pro Logic, right? Kind of like Aaron Aaron's home system.
I don't understand why y'all. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with Pro Logic. We've
Hey,
been.
it's true though, right?
Let me tell you why. This is very simple. There's 2 words. Pro, okay, professional. Logic, it's logical.
Duh.
Yeah.
And this one's even upgraded. This is Logic 7.
Yeah, it's not even 6.
It's not Pro though. It's not Pro. It's just Logic 7.
Well, then that may be a problem. That may change things a little.
Be a problem. Problem.
So I know what Chana's got. So, and I want to know what Aaron's got nowadays.
For my car?
Yeah, I did a nice little build.
About a year, but yeah, it's let's see here. So starting at the front, I've got Morel Piccolo tweeters in the cell panels, Morel Carbon 3, like 3.5-inch mid range in the
Sponsored by
dash.
Morel.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm wearing a Morel t-shirt. It's actually pretty funny. Good. We didn't plan this at all.
This is the ultimate shill right here, bro.
What's funny is like I kind of
planned all of this.
Listen,
and if you say you didn't, you're a liar.
After we went to Axpona and Morel is making speakers again, right? I was like, well, I guess I can't wear my Morel shirt anymore because, you know, like car audio it's not an issue with my channel because I don't really do car audio. But now I'm like, crap, I forgot about wearing the shirt. I wore it out today. So anyway,
it's a cool logo though.
This is a cool logo.
Yeah,
what else is there? Oh, so left, center, right, 3-inch mid range in the dash, which the center I don't use. Yeah. I don't use the center except for specific things. It's very key frequencies, right? Basically, I like have everything EQ down and then bring those particular bands up. So where there's a lot of heavy comb filtering, particularly like 500, 800 hertz, I will use that to lock in the center. So it sounds more focused from my main listening position.
What? So you have it bandwidth limited?
Yeah. So we're getting out there. Yeah.
300.
And then certain high frequencies between like 2 and 3K, I'll have those like 2.1 is brought up like 3 decibels, you know, just certain little things here or there just to add like some focus, because if you move your head just slightly, it loses focus. So if I do that with that center channel, it brings everything in just a little bit more.
Is that like a car audio trick where you're kind of introducing your own, like?
I've never told anybody about this until now. So
all right.
Yeah. But it kind of works. Here. I think I'm using the 9-inch mid bass in the doors because the stock doors have like 8 or 9s. So then I use 9-inch Morel mid bass in the doors, Supremos, and I like those because they got a 3-inch voice coil.
Remind me real quick afterwards to mention some kind of comb filtering trick. I'll tell you afterwards. Anyway, so continue.
Okay, all right. And then what else? Oh, the 18-inch hybrid audio subwoofer that's infinitely baffle.
Infinitely baffle.
Yeah. So like the trunk, when you open the trunk and you look in the floor, there's the cubby, right? And most cars will have the cubby. Usually it's where the spare tire is, but my car doesn't come with a spare tire. So it's just extra storage. So that area unbolts and pulls out, and then it goes straight through the bottom of the car. So what the guys did for me was they built the enclosure, if you will, basically just took a baffle and attached it to the body of the car. And then the subwoofer is vented externally to the bottom of the car. So there's no enclosure. It's pretty dope, dude. It's true infinite baffle.
So, okay. What kind of DSP setup do you have?
Oh,
what do you have it doing, and how do you stream or how do you listen to your music?
Yeah, so all of my music is just done through the OEM system. So the Tesla has like Apple Music, Podcast, Audible. I use those. You can use Spotify, and it might even have Tidal, but I don't use either of those. I don't subscribe to those. So it's just mainly Apple Music, Podcasts, and Audible for me. And then, let's see here. Oh, the Helix the Helix DSP Ultra, I think is it. I can't remember the exact model number now or the model name now, but yeah. Got to be honest though, I spent way too much money on that car system, and sometimes I regret it because it's ridiculous. I've got 6 amplifiers. One's for the sub, 2 are for the mid bass, like 1 for each to bridge down for the mid bass, and then tweeters and mid ranges are all powered separately as well.
And I'm sure you have it all sound dampened.
Oh yeah. Doors are deadened as much as they can be with extra materials to help quieten the car cabin and all that kind of stuff. So
man, I'm surprised I just did that. I didn't do it like all crazy. I didn't rip out everything. Try to reach as much as I could, stuff like that. and surprised how much difference it makes as far as just even ride,
Yeah.
Like when you're driving around, I'm like, man, does this sound quieter to you? It sounds quieter to me. It's crazy. Did you ever figure out the little rattle that you said was bugging you that one time?
Oh, yeah, I figured it out. I basically just took the trim panel off the back for now.
Oh, off.
There's a piece of trim panel on the back door. So when you open it, you can just pop it off. So I just popped it off.
And so what would be the real solution is put some sound dampening stuff on that
Yeah,
thing?
it wouldn't be CLD. It would be just like some foam, some memory foam or some egg crate foam or something. Just wedge it in the right places because it's rattling against, you know what I mean? The plastic trim is rattling against the metal of the car. So that's
I see. So just need a little pressure.
Yeah.
From
just
someone.
something to kind of break that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Chana's you running stock. Which system do you want to talk about? Audi or the new one?
The Lucid is it's not the good system. It's not the good system. It's not the Dolby Atmos system.
How was it though? So it's like, how was the system anyway?
It's not bad. It needs a little tweaking, and I gotta boost the bass up a little bit, and then I gotta play it probably at like 60 to 70, 50 to 70% volume to like get like some good bumpage out of there, and bass is up like 2 notches. Not bad, not great. Would have preferred the Dolby Atmos system, but I'm working with the guys over there at Lucid. They're gonna lend me some cars to check out the Dolby Atmos in the system.
Okay.
So that'll be kind of cool. Otherwise, you know the drill, Joe. I got the 23 speaker 1900 watt Bang & Olufsen in the Audi Q7. Yeah. And then, I'm driving every weekend to DJ, so I'm in that car. I do 700 miles a weekend in that car.
Dang.
So I'm listening to quite a bit of stuff. I have been, getting bored listening to listening to music because it's a lot of driving, right? So sometimes I'll throw on some crap reality TV like Love Island, on the phone, and just listen to that. Maybe a podcast.
Why don't you just listen to the podcast at that point,
dude? At some point, look, because like it's a 6-hour, it's like a 5-hour drive. Sometimes, dude, the podcast shit just makes me want to sleep, bro. I need when they cut to commercial, that music is louder. Then it's like, people complaining about stuff, so there's a lot of like different stimuli audio wise, and if I only had like 4 hours of sleep and I just moved, like I did 27,000 steps at that, like a wedding, dude, that's like 12 miles of walking, right? So like I'm tired. And so if it's a podcast, man, I mean, if it's our podcast, I'll be laughing.
Yeah.
And, but like most podcasts are like, whoa, what's up?
Love Island. Oh my god.
Love Island.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That show is the funniest because they I'm gonna still get canceled for this. So like the girls, they don't pick like the hottest girls that they start with. So they get the guys like all like, into these quote unquote little relationships, and then like halfway through they throw like the hottest girls in there, and then everybody's freaking out. It's the funniest shit.
That's funny. That sounds funny. That does sound
funny.
Dude,
it's hilarious. The first time I saw that, I'm like, no, this is so messed up.
That's kind of funny. That is kind of funny. We got some more super chats here.
Look at this. You guys are awesome, dude.
All for Tim. Keep it coming, man.
Look at all this. Michael Squires.
We got how about the first one over right here on the starred one? Is Paul? Did we answer that one?
Paul
Travisano. You see it in the start?
Yeah. Can any tower around $500 beat the Klipsch RP 8000F2 for reaching home theater reference at 9 feet away? Oh.
Okay, so loudness.
Yeah, so that under $500, are they that cheap now?
What? How about this? What other towers are $500? Are you talking about each?
T6s, but they're hard to drive though.
Yeah. Those Klipsch. I thought they were more than that. Actually, I'm pretty sure because I just looked them up like 2 days ago when I was doing my review for the JBL. $749 each. So on Amazon, actually, they're showing up as 500 each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like.
Yeah,
Yep, I see that.
so, I would say I actually just talked briefly about those in my review for the JBL Stage 2 280F, which are $599 each. The JBL is not as linear, but the clips aren't entirely linear either. And the clips need to be put up close to a wall so they can get some boundary reinforcement. Otherwise, the mid-range is about 3 dB off from the treble. Surprise, surprise, it's a clips, right?
Right.
The Klipsch has better directivity. So overall, the Klipsch is probably the safer choice in terms of response linearity with equalization. I wouldn't use the JBL without equalization, and I personally wouldn't use the Klipsch without equalization either. But out of those two, in terms of linearity and what you can make happen, the Klipsch is probably better. However, the Klipsch starts to roll off at like 20 hertz sooner, so its F3 is at 67 hertz. Where the JBL, I think the F3 is around 47 hertz or mid 40s, right? So the JBL extends lower, and the JBL has wider radiation, and the Klipsch is much more narrow, I believe. I had to double check. Matter of fact, I'll look real fast. Yeah, the Klipsch is like 10 to 20 degrees more narrow than the JBL. So in terms of that, I would choose the JBL. And there you go. That's your trade-offs because the JBL is not as linear, but it's wider and it gets lower. So you choose.
There it is.
Yeah.
You guys are hilarious in the chat here. I'll tell you that.
You never reviewed the Heiko Aurora 700 towers?
No, I talked about maybe doing it, but I think I saw James Larson's review on that and was like, that's good enough. Like, sometimes I don't bother reviewing stuff that somebody else has already reviewed because it just doesn't excite me enough to do it. But if it's something I'm excited about, then I'll still review it anyway.
Yeah, so I've reviewed those. They're right now. I'm looking at them. Audio Vice has them from $419 to $489 each.
Okay.
I mean, I don't love the clips from that range.
Yeah.
I haven't heard those particular ones, but I didn't love the Heiko Auroras either. I had them in my living room for a while.
Yeah, I think floor standards in that price range are just kind of like,
They did look cool though. I will say, they did look cool. Could EQ them a bit, so it's a tough one when you're asking for $500 each.
Yeah, for a tower
speaker. Yeah, that's tough.
The T6 that you're talking about, Shauna, I don't know if you can even get them.
You can't get them anymore, but they were $400, $399.
You're talking about 400 per pair is what you got them for, didn't you?
Yeah, I got them 400 per pair, but they were each 400 or $399 when they came out. But I mean, they're like 82 dB sensitive or 85 or something, right?
Around, I'd say probably around like 85, 80,
something like 85. Yeah,
82 is the small ones that we have. 80, that's 81.
Oh, okay.
So, you know,
there you go, Paul. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah. What else we got?
Another Paul doing a super chat.
Yes, sir.
Happy anniversary, Darla is cool. Tim is an okay guy too. LOL.
Not cool, man.
I'm making note here of all how much I'm gonna owe. I'm making notes here. $20 from Michael Squires. All right.
Let's keep him from having to go to Red Lobster. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that.
It's very nice. Tim's gonna come back and be like, "Yo, this is awesome."
Yeah, that's what's up.
He's gonna be like, "Well, this was great. We got all this money the day after, so we already went to Red Lobster."
But it's not the weekend, right?
You gotta go do it over again. You gotta
do it over again.
Do over.
Yeah. You'll be all right.
All right. Here's
go.
I think Joe, you already answered. I heard the Bach stuff at Axpona. Aaron
did not. I had to leave.
Yeah, he didn't. He did it. He pulled a boo-boo. He left too early.
Yo, boo-boo.
But really awesome stuff. It's the Polk SDA, Joe, that you heard, but like on steroids. And any speaker, any music, You just have to have their like $5,000 device and a little camera.
I'm sure better speakers would perform better though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But like, he's saying any speakers. It doesn't have to be the Polk speakers.
Right.
And since it's done actively, like he was saying with the Polk SDA, you kind of get like a 15 to 20%, whereas this you get like a 70%. And it really, like, I listened to some stuff, I was just like, wow. Yeah, it was fantastic. And one of my viewers recommended I go check it out. And I randomly ran into this guy on Sunday morning. He's like, oh, you got to hit up this Bach. You got to go up there. That's the coolest thing I heard at Expona. So,
yeah. And if you're interested in the way that it works, I think it was Dr. Chueri is the one who made it.
yes, he was there.
Yeah, Dr.
Yeah, that was
Chueri.
him. Yeah.
So he's really into the spatial audio aspect. He's even said before, I remember him saying in an interview that he thinks that the spatial part is the most important aspect. And
yeah.
I don't know if I agree 100% because frequency response kind of matters too.
Yeah.
But the idea behind what they're doing is they're trying to cancel out the crosstalk. So when a sound is playing out of the left speaker, some goes to your left ear, but some of it also goes to your right ear. So they have a head tracking thing and some kind of like some microphones that you use. And so they can detect how much is actually crossing over to the other ear and they can cancel it. So that happens when you use headphones, right? Yeah. When you listen to headphones, the sound that goes into this ear doesn't cross over to the other one.
Correct.
So when you listen to certain type of binaural stuff where it's important that you don't have any crosstalk, then it sounds extremely realistic when you use headphones, but not so good when you use speakers. But if you're to use this Bach SP, you can listen to binaural stuff and it sounds as if you're listening on headphones, except you're listening through speakers. Is that about right?
Yeah.
And you can move your head too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got head tracking, right?
It's got head tracking, yeah. And it's almost like the room is wearing headphones. That's the best way to describe it. Like the room's wearing two big ass headphones, and I'm not. And I played. There's a song by Odessa called "Boy," and they do a lot of panning stuff. And in headphones, it sounds awesome. But on the stereo, it's not as cool. But with this, I had him play that, and he's like, "This is a great track to demo this." I was like, "I know, I know." Yeah, just ask the DJ. Anyway,
how cool did the actual product itself look like?
It's just like a box. It's just like a standard old box. That's it. Just like.
And you didn't have to wear anything afterwards.
I didn't have to wear it. No, I was wearing. Actually, did a binaural. I did a recording. I have the footage. I just never made the video.
Oh, dude, I want to hear that.
I think so. Yeah, I think I have it.
I want to hear that. That maybe you could pop that out as a quick, like a short, even, just a little sample.
Yeah,
I want to hear it. Anyway, it's not BS. It's not BS. There's a lot of science behind what he's doing.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's legit.
Well, I haven't heard it yet, but I will say that there are people I really trust who say it's legit. So, and then there's Chana who also says it's legit.
What a dick.
Whatever, man. You know I love you, bro. I'm sending hugs. Give me a hand. Oh.
What do we got here? We got another super chat.
Oh, that hurt.
Minash.
Nanash.
Yeah, someone say, oh,
man,
Minash.
This ain't no motherfucking Master P.
That was so bad. I met Master P once.
What?
Yeah. I was working at the Ralph's in the Valley off of Woodman Avenue. And dude, I met a bunch of stars there, dude. Brooke Burke, Pink, Master P, Gary Payton, the Glove. He was there. Like, I was just like, why are there so many stars? Anyway, but yeah, I was just like, no way. And he was like 2 checks down. And he was like, I was like, there's no way. And he's like, I was like, yeah. That's so cool.
If you weren't, you should have walked up to him and asked him, are you Master P? He's like, yeah, I'm Master P. He said, let me hear you say,
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, right.
You should have said it. Address him by his legal name.
The only
Miller.
The only person I actually got an autograph from was Mr. T, because he was there. And he's like, "Oh, I got something for you." And he goes to his car. He comes back with his big ass poster. And I was like, "Yeah,
Dude, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah."
But
All
I
right,
will never think of Mr. T and not think of Eddie Murphy. Do you guys know what I'm curious if anybody in the chat knows my reference here.
Oh,
It's pretty vulgar, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm
all
not
right.
going to say anything else about it. I'm just curious if anybody else knows what I'm talking about.
all right. Answer Aaron's cryptic question, and then we'll get to this guy. Upgrade my Onkyo RZ900 AVR for Parasound P5 preamp.
I'll be right back.
To a Marantz AV10. I get super price, and I already have separate amps.
Onkyo RZ900 AVR and Parasound P5 preamp. I don't know what's a Parasound P5 preamp.
I know what a P5 is. I bought one for my dad.
P5 preamp. Okay.
It's a 2-channel preamp. That's all it is.
Okay. It's just 2.1 preamp.
Thank you, Chad.
So I'm trying to what's the use case for using this preamp? To do the DA conversion?
I mean, you could use the preamp for some other channels, right? But the RZ900 is 7.2 channel home theater, and you're going to go to an AV10. That's a big ass jump. Right, I'm looking at it here. Let's see, Crutchfield. This is a giant looking AVR. Like, why does it look so huge? Because they laid out the back in a weird way. Okay, I get it. But it's only 7 channels, so yeah, 5.1.2. Okay,
7.2.
Yeah.
I'm looking at what the P5 does. It looks like a 2.1 preamp, and you can plug in different sources, and it gives you the option to do a kind of like your bass management type of thing.
Yeah, 9.1, 11.1. I don't even think this has like pre-outs for higher. Let's see, what does the pre-out section look like? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it. No. Damn.
So,
okay, I'm confused. I don't know. Why you would want the P5 for the first.
He's probably using it for this is my 2-channel stuff. He's gonna use that.
Okay. Oh, I see.
He probably uses the Onkyo for kind of home theater type of deals. That's kind of my guess.
Yeah. Okay.
And it says here, I use a P5 for 2-channel and put it into the bypass to play movies.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, so that's a big jump to go to AV10. I mean, it's like if you have I would say, if you want to buy the AV10, I did this with Fred for months. Buy the AV10, right? If you want to buy it. If that's what you really want, do it. I don't see unless you're running 16 channels in a home theater, I don't really see the need for one. Right? That's what I would say. Right? You go figure out how many speakers you want in your home theater and buy an AVR or pre-pro that corresponds to that kind of channel count. I'm doing 716 in here. And this is 16 by 13. I don't even think I want to run wides. That'd be like way too many speakers in here.
Yeah,
I don't know. Adding channels, he says.
I think AV10 is probably a solid thing. If you want to buy it, if you can get a good price on it. Also, he says he can get a super price, so that also matters. What's a super price? I like the HTP one as a preamp processor just because it does a ton of stuff. But I'm kind of nerdy with that stuff. It's probably more complicated than some people may want for their system. But I think anything you get right now that's a preamp is probably going to be pretty decent. It's going to be a nice upgrade from your setup, just from a simplicity standpoint of not having to go between these two devices. I'm not somebody who really worries so much about the DACs in there. You know,
Yeah.
I don't worry about that. I would look for something that has really good room correction, because I think you'll notice that way more than running your speakers that are probably not perfect. I don't know. You may have some perfect speakers. If you're running some Kef Blade 2 metas, then you're fine. But if you're not, even then, you probably might need to do a little something with the bass. But even then, you know, if you don't have those or any speakers that are like, what else would probably fit in the category of? He has the R11 meta.
Oh,
Nice.
How close is that? Does he still need?
Does he still need what?
DSP, top end.
No, I don't think so. Probably not. I don't think I've seen
Okay.
the data for the 11, but you know, if it's anything like the others, I wouldn't.
So you don't have to. Okay. It's always good to start with some real good speakers, and if they're placed well, then you should be okay. I think any of these will be okay. If you have some R11 metas, are those pretty expensive?
Yeah. What are they? They're like 4,000 or 5,000 each. Maybe they're not. I don't know, man. I'm out of touch with this stuff.
I'm into matching the price of stuff.
the R11 metas are $3,250 each.
Okay. That's not bad. I mean,
So
for what you're getting.
6,500 for two.
Yeah. That's not bad for what you get.
Yeah. I'm not against the AV10. I think they're a little bit expensive unless you get, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
You get a crazy deal, super price, you're good. What else we got?
Oh, you know what's funny? I put out that video today of the acoustic panels. And you know what this one comment was? It's pretty silly. But it kind of goes along with what you just said. You know, where did it go? God damn it. It was something like, oh, are your acoustic panels more expensive than your speakers? Then you need better speakers.
Oh. Might not be wrong.
No. But I mean, they do pretty damn well.
Here, this is kind of relevant.
It's not so that's the thing. I mean, acoustic panels serve two different functions, and it depends on what you're trying to do. Like, number one, they can try to fix a really bad room, or you can try to fix a bad speaker, or you can try to do both. But the problem is that people will use them for one purpose and not understand that it's also affecting them in another way. So, you know, like for example, if you have a speaker with really good directivity and you try to absorb that first reflection, you can actually make the speaker sound worse. And if you use panels because you're just trying to quiet the room and you use the panels at that first reflection, then yeah, you've quietened the room, but you've also changed the inherent nature of the tonality of that speaker. So now you no longer have the same speaker. And what it'll do is it'll suck out that upper mid-range, lower treble portion, and it'll take away some of the dynamicism, some of the attack, some of the clarity, some of the intelligibility, some of those factors, especially if it's a room like a standard size room that maybe, well, let me put it this way, especially if it's not a room where there's no sidewalls, right? Like if you have a room that has no sidewalls or it's so large that the sidewalls are really far away, then you're pretty much just listening to the direct sound. But when you have a standard room, you're getting the direct and the reflected. And after measuring like over 200 speakers total at this point and looking at data and even RTA, that aligns better with the estimated in-room response. And I've actually spoken, I don't know if I should name the name. There's a huge company with a shit ton of science behind their speakers. And what do they go after? Estimated in-room response. They will actually purposely tweak their on-axis response to get a better estimated in-room response. So it's not just me saying this. This is like people who believe in the science and actually do tons of listening and make some of the best speakers available. So yeah. Anyway,
I would like both though. I'd like both good in-room response and good on-axis if you can.
Well, you need to have both.
I'd prefer.
My point is that when you when you look at the performance of a speaker objectively, and then you compare it to what you're hearing aligns, in my opinion, in my experience, more closely with the estimated in-room response for a standard room. But when you get outside of that and you go outside of the norm and you listen in a very large room, like I can give you a fine example of this. People will say that, oh, I listened to so-and-so speaker and I didn't like it. It sounded too X, Y, or Z. And then you ask them, well, where did you listen to it at? Well, I listened to it in a demo on a shop floor or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
You tell me about the room. Oh, well, there was no side walls. There was blah, blah, blah. So it was perfect. Well, no, it wasn't. The speaker was designed, if it was engineered to go in a room, then that's how it should be listened to. So go back and ask them to put it into a room and listen to it. And it's a different speaker at that point, right? Like it actually makes a difference.
I'm kind of curious on that though, because if you're saying you like the estimated in-room response or something that's optimized for that, but I've seen some speakers that have a kind of like a not very good on-axis response.
Yeah.
Or well, how do I say this?
Especially with diffraction.
What's that?
Especially when they have like diffraction elements.
Mm-hmm.
That could be an issue.
Diffusers?
What?
You mean a diffuser or?
No, diffraction from, like if it's a tweeter on a flat baffle, then the edge, the sound radiates to the edge and then it comes back delayed at you. And usually it's high in frequency. It'll be anywhere from like 4 to 10K. So it'll create a dip on axis or a peak or some kind of like comb filter effect.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is, depending on how severe that diffraction is and how far out it goes as you move around the speaker, it may become more neutral at like 10 or 20 or 30 degrees. And so when you set it up in a room, the estimated in-room response is more linear than what you would expect it to be if you just looked at the on-axis response. And again, in my experience, every time that I've listened to a speaker and I've taken notes and I've gone back and looked at my estimated in-room response and I've looked at the CEA 2034, so the on-axis response as well, my notes track much more closely to the estimated in-room response, especially when I see a speaker that kind of like what Joe is, I think, is maybe alluding to, is its on-axis response doesn't look good, but it has a pretty decent estimated in-room response. A speaker I just went through that with was that Revival Adelante 5, which its on-axis response was abysmal. But when I listened to them, they didn't sound that bad. So when I looked at the measurement and I saw the on-axis response, I was like, good Lord. And then I hit the tab for estimated in-room response. And I was like, oh, that's what I heard. Like that's in my notes. This is what I'm describing. But it was a combination of both, right? It's not just one or the other. But in my experience, the estimated in-room response tends to more closely align with my subjective impression than the on-axis response. So at this point, I just kind of put more weight, more personal weight on the estimated in-room response than the on-axis or even the listening window for that matter.
Would you say that, let's say you can toe it in, you can kind of avoid the on-axis response?
Dip, yeah.
Is there a way that you can toe it out in such a way where you're not really hearing that on-axis, where most of what you hear is the off-axis response, kind of like the Bose 901, where you're not really hearing very much direct sound? It's all reflected.
Yeah,
is there any way you can get some
toe in versus toe out?
That?
Yeah, like I mean, think about like KEF coaxial speakers or the MoFi coaxial speakers. A lot of coaxial speakers, a lot of them, not all of them, but they tend to have some diffraction peaks and dips when they're pointed directly at you. And so they say typically to aim them about 10 to 20 degrees off axis. So that's why, is because when they're aimed slightly off axis, the direct sound now is 10 to 20 degrees, right? It's no longer pointed directly at you. That sound is shifted out past you. And so the direct sound, the sound that hits you first, is the sound that's angled by 10 or 20 degrees. And then you still get the culmination of the on-axis sound from the reflections, but it's not as much of a contributor as it is when it's pointed directly at you.
Okay.
So you still hear the on-axis, and there's no way you can separate these things out, right? But what I'm saying is that there have been many cases where I've seen on-axis that doesn't look good, but the estimated in-room response kind of smooths out for a reason or two. And in my notes, what I've heard is more similar to the estimated in-room response. So that's where I'm at with that, I guess.
So that sound, that direct sound that when you tow it away, so it's not hitting you directly, it's still going to bounce off some walls, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
the idea is that it's going to hit a far wall, and then it's going to be much lower when it finally does get to you, or
it could be, depending on how much off axis it is. But just keep in mind that when I say direct sound, I could mean 0 degrees, or if you turn the speaker around and faced it backwards, the direct sound would be the first sound that hits you, right? So that would be the sound that comes from that front of the baffle. Everything else comes back delayed and reflected.
I just had a weird thought, right? Like if you had something that had a wide dispersion pattern, on axis was kind of weird, and you purposely kind of aim that towards sound panel to absorb that direct sound.
Yeah.
Like it might not work because you're going to be very far off axis, but I'm wondering if that's kind of like a thing where like really try to absorb that on axis at that point.
Technically, you could do that.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know practically where you would, and I understand that's what you're saying too. Like it might not make sense to do it, but technically speaking, you could do that. Yeah. You could turn it sideways and face it at a panel right next to it if you wanted to. Especially if it was like pretty much an omnidirectional speaker that maybe for whatever reason had some diffraction issues because of the symmetry of the design, right?
Right.
From left to right. But yeah, you could do that. So there's a lot of, this is why I really find the data interesting. So this is kind of brings out like the geek side of me, because there's a lot of stuff that's packed into the data that I kind of have to gloss over in my reviews because I'm trying to get to the point quickly. All this stuff are observations that I've made, and I used to think like, yeah, on axis definitely matters, and I thought maybe I was crazy because of what I was finding, but I actually was sharing emails with the manufacturer last week, and they were like, yeah, this is what we shoot for. So your observations match exactly what we do and how we design speakers now because of that. And I was like,
now,
okay, cool.
I don't want to skip over this because I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
The on axis is probably going to be the first sound that arrives at your ear, though, right?
Well, the on axis is, technically speaking, all right, how do we put it this way? 0 degrees, the way I define on axis is 0 degrees is the on axis response. That puts it into a definition in a box, and I can say this is how I'm defining it. But technically speaking, the on axis sound is always a sound that's going to be pointing directly at you. So even if you tow it 10 degrees off axis, you're going to get 10 degrees, and that's going to be the direct sound. And that's the sound that's on your axis, right? On your listening axis. But for the purpose of my videos and to keep everybody sane, to me, 0 degrees is on axis and anything else is off axis by some angle.
I just wonder if the on axis becomes a reference point at some point in your brain. Like where the sound that you hear initially loudest, if it becomes a reference point, like, okay, this is the originating sound.
Yeah,
and then
Dr.
sound becomes something slightly different in tonality. But does my brain, I don't know how my brain works, whether it says that original sound is the sound, the rest of the sound I hear also, but I know that there's a difference, and maybe that difference is caused by the room or off-axis response, but I know that the direct sound, the on-axis sound, is a certain way. I'm wondering if it becomes a reference or not.
Yeah, so Dr. Tool's book has a lot of information about that, and I think ultimately that's what the majority of his work is on. But kind of going back to my experience in a typical room where the reflections are maybe 3 to 6 milliseconds out, that's so close to the original sound that how does your brain determine what's what?
Yeah.
And I still fall back to having at this point, seriously, like over 200 speakers measured and having my notes and looking at the data. My notes align more with the data, especially in those cases where the on axis 0 degrees sound is different enough from the estimated interim response, where if I gave you 2 sheets of paper with one of them each on there, I would say, is this the same speaker? And you would probably say no. Right. So I think that's probably the best way for me to put that. And again, I can go back to that Revival Adelante 5. That's a more recent example, and one where I looked at the on axis response and I was like, whoa. But then I looked at the estimated interim response and I thought, okay, that aligns closer to what I was hearing in tonality. Now, the thing is that the on axis sound had like a bump. Let's say it's 4 to 5K. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was somewhere in that region. And it was like maybe plus 5 dB. The estimated interim response doesn't show that, because once you start going off axis, things start to shift in the sound power
Mhm.
or the off axis response. So then your estimated in room response, what you're probably going to hear in your seat, is more smoothed out. It basically kind of fills in the little peaks and dips.
Yeah.
But I still heard that flavor of that bump from 4 to 5K. So to me, when I was reviewing that speaker, what I was telling people was, okay, so the estimated response is more linear than what you would expect if you saw the on-axis response. And that estimated response aligns more closely to what I heard in my room, but there's still that flavor of that on-axis response peak at 4 to 5K, which kind of would jump out at you every now and again. But if I didn't have the on-axis response measurement, I might not have known exactly why that was the case, because it smoothed out so much as you went. I mean, even 10 degrees difference in that speaker was quite a bit different in the response.
Very interesting, man.
Yeah,
I
it really
would
is,
like to do
man.
some experiments with you sometime where we optimize for either the on-axis or the estimated in-room response. I'm not sure which speaker would probably be best for that type of experiment, but to see which one would sound the best using the same exact speaker, though.
Yeah.
So we're not changing the directivity of the speaker. We're just changing the EQ so that either or is optimized, either on axis or the estimated in-room response. Curious to hear what the difference would be in sound. Or
Between, I guess you lost me there. I'm listening, but I guess you lost me. I got confused.
So you can optimize for either on axis and make that as flat and linear as possible.
I see what you're saying. You
But
mean
you're gonna
with the
sacrifice-
EQ, you can optimize.
Yeah, you're gonna sacrifice how smooth the estimated in-room response is.
Yeah, I got you.
Or you can make that estimated in-room as linear as possible, but then you're gonna sacrifice that on-axis response and might
you're
look a
giving
little
one
more
of them
jagged.
for sure.
So
Yeah.
which one is gonna be the proper one? I mean, that's important to me.
I would like to have both and then make that decision. You know what I'm saying?
But sometimes you choose one or the other.
Yeah. So to me, ideally, I would have both sets of that data, and I would ask the consumer, how do you want to set the speaker up? Because some people prefer it not to be aimed directly at you, just the look of it alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would probably go from there. Like I would say, okay, well, the data can support me turning it off axis 30 degrees, have it basically not flat against the wall, but parallel with the wall behind it. So I would say you could do that, but you're going to have to do this thing via EQ. And I would go that route. But yeah, I would have to have both. I wouldn't want to try to make that decision without both bits of that information in front of me.
I'm trying to find I can't really find one right now. Because on Spinorama they do show both. They show you the pre-EQ and then post-EQ. And I think the way that Pierre does it, he optimizes for the estimated in-room, doesn't he? When he does his EQ.
I don't know, man. He might, but I really don't know.
Okay, so here's an example.
Okay.
And we'll get off of this pretty quick because people might be this might be a little much for some people. But this is the Vanuatu Transparent 1 Encore, right? Okay. And so when you look at it, here's the on axis here. Okay. There's on axis, and the estimated in room is not so hot, right?
Yeah, that's bright. That's going to sound sibilant.
Okay, so here's the estimated. Boom, right? And so he shows his before and after when you click on this one, and it looks like the on axis is he's done some stuff to it, but primarily it looks like he's optimized for this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Response, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just based on the on-axis response is not flat. He's got to dip through that 4 to 5K region. So, yeah. And that honestly, I think with that speaker, that's what I would do, because based on my experience, again, I'm expecting to hear that 4 to 5K bump. And if I'm sitting in my seat and I'm EQing by ear, I'm bringing that down immediately. So it's probably going to wind up looking closer to what he has with his EQ'd estimated in-room response.
Yeah, I would like to just do a little more experiments with this type of thing to hear what the specific differences are when you EQ one versus the other.
Yeah. Well, and also we need to, because I kind of mentioned it earlier, but I don't want it to get lost, is the room matters, right? Like if you have a small room and you got these speakers right next to a reflective surface, that's different than you having a huge room with no sidewalls. I mean, that's two different sounds that you're going to hear out of that speaker.
Mhm.
and that
Or
matters.
near field. Sometimes you're near field.
Right, because then you're going to hear just the on axis pretty much. There's hardly any reflection creeping into that,
All right.
so that matters too. There's a lot of variables to this stuff. That's why like it's really not easy to just make a blanket recommendation sometimes, because you have to factor in, all right, well, this person wants to use it this way, or as I said earlier, I've had people talk about speakers that they spent 6 figures or more on because they like the look of them first and like the sound of them second, right? Like they didn't think they sounded bad, but they like the look more than the sound. And that's why they chose that speaker, because the look was more important to them and their setup, right? And I guess when you got dumb money, you can do whatever the heck you want to do. But yeah.
Somebody else said here, because the question about the RZ900, somebody said go with the Tone Winner A300 preamp, and the reason I started that is because I actually have that one. I didn't know it came with this mic, right?
Oh,
It looks like a pretty decent mic. It's XLR stand and everything, and I haven't unboxed this thing. Here's the box. I haven't opened it yet. I don't even know what it looks like. But Summit Hi-Fi, shout out to Summit Hi-Fi.
Oh, that's cool.
Out in Canada. They sent this out to me. This is it. And luckily, because it's a preamp, it's pretty light. So this is it. Here, live unboxing for you guys. Want to see it? You know why this is a good idea? Because if it came all broken, then you guys know.
Well, I mean, even if you'd still have it on film.
I know.
Right.
Boom. Remote. Hey, this remote doesn't look bad, huh? Okay. All right. What else we got in here?
Styrofoam.
Because we've said that these unboxings are corny, so
I did.
I'm not gonna do it in a corny way. I'm gonna do it real quick right now.
Do your cereal face.
Cereal face? No, thank you.
Cereal box.
Hold on. HDMI cable. I think there's a power cable in there somewhere, and this is it. Look at how light this is.
So what is that thing? What is that? Is that a pre-pro? What is that?
So it is a pre-pro.
Okay.
And they say 16 channels, but I looked at the manual and I think that's a little bit misleading, actually.
They say how many channels?
16 channels.
16.
Okay. You guys tell me. If this can only do either a 9.1.6, 9.1.4, or it can do a 7.1.6. Would you consider that? How many channels would you consider that, Shauna?
7.1.6?
It can either do 7.1.6
14
or 9.1.4.
That's 14.
14.
The other channels that it's referring to are subwoofer outputs.
Oh,
that's not 16.
Well, hold on though, but isn't that how everybody else markets their stuff?
No, if it's a 16, then it's a 916 or yeah, that's it. 916.
That matters.
Putting it out there, man. Just putting it out there because that's what it says over there. 16 channels. I see subwoofer 1, which is XLR, and then I see 2 subwoofers. Subwoofer 1 and where's the other one?
Dude, that's a lot of XLRs.
Yeah, so
and that thing costs $13.75.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem bad at all. That's pretty neat. That's a lot cheaper than Trinov, which I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm just saying I know that Trinov has a bunch of channels and it's super expensive.
So here's a subwoofer 1. And then where's it? Subwoofer, another subwoofer, and then subwoofer 3 here. And then the tricky part though is I think like the left top middle shares it with the wides or something like that. One of these shares with wides. So it's like you can't have both top middle and wides. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Right. Because it's either 716 or 914. That makes sense.
So I'm pointing at them right here. Boom. These two.
Right. So that's kind of the same thing, right?
Left top middle or left wide, or right top middle and right wide. So you can't have both.
Yeah. So exactly. But you said it before. It supports 716 or 914. So
in
914, when you're using wides, you don't have top middles.
You're not calling that 16 channels though, would you?
No. I call that a 13 channel.
13 channel with 3
or 14 with the one subwoofer out, because I mean LFE is just LFE.
How do you count it? If this is a Marantz, Denon or Marantz product, what do you call it? When you say
13
this, how many channels of processing? 13?
I'll say 13 channel, yeah.
So this has 13 channels of processing with an option for 3 subwoofers.
Yeah.
That's probably a better way to say it.
That's
But
a
anyway,
better descriptor, yeah.
I'm testing this thing out.
Yep.
And trying to see what we could do with Magic Bean's EQ. And I might have to create a specific output just for this, and export that. Trying to make it easier for people who have this and want a better EQ or automatic room calibration, speaker calibration. See what we can do. So there it is. Karaoke. It says
what? Dude, that's awesome.
Hold on a second.
Karaoke.
Hold it up right there. Hold on a second. Look at that. You guys see that?
That's awesome.
There's Atmos. There's DTSX, and instead of Oro 3D, you get karaoke.
Wow. What?
You know what I mean?
Hey, that's why it's a tone winner.
That's what's up.
It's a tone winner.
Hey,
look. They sent the one and only processor that has karaoke to the Filipino dude.
Good job, guys. Hey, I'm not for all the stereotyping stuff, but they're absolutely correct.
That's a good one.
Sometimes you're right with that sort of stuff.
Oh, Jeremy, karaoke is way more useful than Oro. This guy, I love it.
Hey, I'm excited. I hope it works extremely well. I'm going to try it out in the living room where I have
let's try it out.
We have karaoke?
I'll come over. We'll do a karaoke party.
You come over. I have the 6700H, right?
Yeah.
The one that you graciously sent to me. Thank you again. And the thing's working awesome. Just using it as a preamp, doing its thing. But I'm going to replace it with this, and let's see what happens. And also bring over your hard drive so we can test out that Zedu UHD 8000.
Oh yeah, we got to do that on the weekend or something.
Next time I see you, because Gracie's birthday.
Yeah, that's like the only weekend I have off. Oh my gosh.
When I see you, please bring over your hard drive so we can test out how it handles the movie stuff. Anyway, what else we got?
Go with the tone winner 300, the A300 preamp. We already did that.
Oh,
hello. What's the most liquid sounding amp that you guys have heard? Maybe up to 300.
Probably. Well,
gotta use this though.
We need to ask.
You ever use this? You guys ever use this?
Liquid electric tape? No.
This stuff is cool.
I'm sure glad we have the expert Aaron here to let us know what a liquid sounding amplifier.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd say probably the T2000.
Yeah, the T2000. Is that the upgraded one?
That's the liquid one. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one was a little. It had like more robotic sound to it.
Yeah. He was like, it was really bare bones. The T1000 was.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of myself right now.
Yeah, you are. You should be.
Hey, man, I'll put in some work on that one.
High five. At first, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh, derp.
Terminator 2 for anybody who doesn't get
Joey
it.
jumped in on it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Immediately. I got that one. Yeah, I
know.
Even I got that one. Liquid sounding. So to answer the question, what's liquid sounding? I mean,
man, I don't know.
What's the opposite of liquid sounding? Digital. Sounds so
Metal
digital.
sounding?
Yeah.
Hold on. Gas
liquid sounding.
Maybe something that sounds very binary and digital.
I mean, I honestly, I don't have an answer for that. I don't even know
that. We don't play that.
What that relates to.
So one's like
do 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 do,
and the other one's like
do 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 do. Yeah.
Yeah, the other one's like a smooth.
Have you seen this boy? Dude, that dude, when he's running, when he's chasing them out of the mall and they're on that dirt bike, dude, he is getting it, ain't he? Every time I watch that movie, I'm like, man, that dude is hauling.
Yeah.
Patrick, what was his Patrick something? I can't remember his last name.
Stewart?
No.
Swayze? Patrick Shepard?
Oh, Robert Patrick. I googled it.
Robert Patrick.
Okay.
Oh man, we're all joking. I think my answer to that would just be I haven't heard very many amps that are horrible. What I look for is a noisy amp where when it's quiet, if it's making noise, I hate it. If it's when I try to play it loud as I want, and then it starts making bad noises, I hate it. And if it doesn't do any of those things, if it sounds pretty much the same throughout the entire range, then I'm happy.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah.
And any sounds that don't sound liquid to me are probably related to distortion.
I mean, are we talking about liquid drum and bass? Are we like what? Like it's so odd. I don't know. Are we listening to music underwater? I'm so confused.
I will say though, if you get a better looking amp that looks like all sleek, right? It looks all nice. It just feels more liquid. You know what I mean? It just feels that way. Because you have less money, you're less liquid.
I was wondering where it was coming. I was like, there's gonna be a joke here somewhere.
I don't know. What do you think? Have you heard a more liquid sounding amp? I'm trying to be like serious, right? I'm trying to answer seriously. Have you experienced more liquid?
I don't know, man.
Making me thirsty over here.
I don't know.
Give the man an answer. He's Jazzabana.
Jazzabana.
I think the answer is that I don't think.
Are we? If we're talking about a 2-channel amp, man, you got a whole lot of options in a $3,000 price point. So, find something that doesn't have like a noise floor, or noisy noise floor, or like a high noise floor, and make sure it's got the connections you need on it, whether it be RCA or XLR. Make sure it's got a freaking trigger input and maybe a trigger output or a trigger loop, so you can add in another. I don't know. As far as like amplifiers are concerned, if you are you gonna go A, B? Are you gonna go B? Are you gonna go D? Class D. You're gonna get something Class D. Yeah,
Are you gonna go Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3?
Hey, who was it? Was it Kelvin that said that showed his Zone 2 and Zone 3?
Might have been.
Yeah, so he has 2 zones in the one zone. Do you get what I'm saying? He has 4 speakers. So he's running Zone 2 and Zone 3 in the same room. And this is what I'm talking about. Can we just not, if it's going to be there, can it just work properly? Like, why the fuck do you have to have 2 zones to do 4 speakers? How can't you just have Zone 2 do all 4 speakers? Because now he's got to deal with 2 different volume controls for the same room. Right? Like if they're going to keep Zone 2.
I can hear you. I hear you there.
Like, why don't they just make it better? Like, if you're going to fucking put it in there, just make it work better, right? Like, I don't know. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Why don't they actually just make it better?
Or right? Just use a WIM product, because the new version has the, per channel EQ, parametric EQ per channel. Yeah, and now you have a separate EQ for your other speakers. You don't have that with Zone 1 and Zone 2, right? You don't have your own EQ.
You don't have EQ for Zone 1 or Zone 2.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry, for Zone 2 or 3.
There you go. So answer your question, Jazzabana. I would say if you're going to spend, and you didn't say whether this is 2-channel or multi-channel amplification for $3,000, but I think if you're going to spend $3,000, you're probably not going to get something that's that crappy. If you go with a pretty good amp, if you go with, I like Parasound stuff. It's not even, is it that expensive? $3,000?
Yeah, around 3,000. 3,000, yeah. 3,500 for the one that you had was 3,500.
Yeah, and if he only needs 2-channel,
then you're getting more power.
You're gonna get a beast or $3,000.
Or you get the A21.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of anybody complaining that the Parasound doesn't sound good?
No, never.
Oh, never. Right? Even audiophiles are like they'll rock Parasound. So I think you might like something like that. But But you have lots of options at that price point. If you hear people saying, "Oh, Class D sucks," it's probably because they're talking about like a $50 amp. So any $50 amp is going to kind of suck, regardless if it's AB or, regardless of what it is. $50. A $3,000 Class D amp is probably going to sound awesome. So, yeah, you will get what you pay for, unless you go with some kind of like weird tube thing and you're going for it because it's weird. Then maybe you're going to pay for something else, not sound quality related.
This amp sounds like diarrhea, so liquid. Paul chimes in with it's all subject to and assuming the amp, regardless of class, has enough power for your setup. Yeah,
that's probably more important. Okay.
What's the total cost of the Magic Bean software along with the necessary measuring equipment?
I don't know. Let's say when it's not on sale, it's $250 for the software for the standard version. Get yourself any type of mic. I just did a calibration like last night on the whim, and I used this Dayton Audio. What is this? IMM6. I think this is like $30, right? A long cable. So how much is this cable? I don't know.
10, 15.
$10. And then I got this Apple dongle. So the Apple one
was $30.
No, this one's $8. I was surprised.
$8
for the official one. Yeah.
Really?
I was surprised. Nothing Apple's that inexpensive.
Is that Lightning or USB-C?
USB-C.
Oh.
What? The official one on Amazon from Apple, $8, $8.99 or something like that.
I'll get like 3 of those things just in case.
And the reason I like this is because Amir has measured these and it's good, right? I have tried other ones. So I have other ones that I've tried that are not as good. Other brands. And they're either noisier or, they have a weird frequency response. The Apple one, solid. So what else do you need? This, and I can plug this into my phone. I assume you have a phone.
Yeah.
Or something that accepts USB-C, and you can start doing it right there. We provide pink noise. Thanks to Chana said that's okay to stream some pink noise from the Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit.
Yeah,
but if
so you would have to have something with what is it? Android?
It works on
Android streaming device
iOS.
or the phone. Does it work on the phone?
It works on iOS streaming to your Apple TV.
Okay.
Or works on an Apple or Android streaming device.
Or we're talking about the Artist Connection app.
Yes. So that's included, right? When you buy it, we include that. Or just buy a U-mic, Michael Squires is saying.
Yeah.
U-mic is $130. Yeah, I mean, you can go up in price and get the Spatial toolkit. The main thing is it depends on what you're using to input this stuff. So if you're using a Denon or Marantz, you're probably going to need to buy the $200 app to import the stuff. If you have a WIM product, you can just type in the PEQs and not buy anything extra. It's just extra work. So I'm kind of working with them. I'm talking to them about hopefully making it so you can just import a file. Boom. All the settings will be in there and you're done. Yep. So you don't have to spend a ton of money. We're trying our best. And I even have a calibration where you can use... Where is it? I have a calibration where you can use this. The built-in.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it's a little tricky because you have to have adapters. So at the end of the day, it's not really worth it. But I try. What else we got? Move on.
Oh, here. Derek says Kelvin happened to be listening to the same audio signal. If you want to listen to different audio signals and or different volumes, different zones matter. Yeah, but he has 4 speakers in the same room. So how are you going to... I get what you're saying, but like in his specific situation, it's literally a zone 2, a second zone, but it has to be split up between zone 2 and zone 3. Right? So I don't know. I'm just saying, if they want to keep this shit in there, let's update it to 2024 standards and make it more dial-inable, make it whatever that means, make it more useful. How about that? More fucking useful. Make it more fucking useful. I got to take that shit out, make it more useful. God damn it.
Hey, you've been using the WIM Ultra, Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron.
You like it?
I do, man. It's pretty freaking awesome, dude. $329. Like,
bro.
I mean, even if it only lasts you a year, just buy another one.
I'm amazed. Except for that knob, I tried to fix it today.
Yeah.
I sprayed some deoxit in there, right?
Yeah.
Because there's different versions of deoxit where it's lubrication for volume. It's for sliders.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of evaporates, so it's not like gonna get in there and fry your stuff. So I tried it. It didn't do anything. I don't know why it's scratchy.
Yeah, I was going to take mine apart and just see what it looks like inside. I'm curious if me and you are the only ones who have had that.
No, I've looked at other things and people are saying that it's scratchy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I guess The Verge reviewed it or something. I think they might have reviewed it, and they said it's scratchy. Why would it be scratchy? What makes it scratchy?
I don't know. Maybe if there's just something like that's like just touching, you know, that on the rotational portion of it.
So here's what's weird. Let's say this is the circle, right?
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. It only happens at like 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah, there's only a like everything's smooth and it gets to this like
what? Yep. I noticed that too. It's like I can't remember exactly, but like it's somewhere around that 4 or 5 o'clock position, right on that dial. You know, it's like what?
Always pushing around. Checking mine now 1 second. Hey, here's the other thing. The WIM amp that I have does not have that feel.
Yeah, mine either.
And it's the same feeling type of knob.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Whatever. The other thing that's tricky about that, I guess, I think we mentioned it, but the WIM Ultra doesn't have AirPlay.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are complaining about that, but I don't have an issue with that because I run my Apple TV through the WIM, like via ARC. You know,
through it.
Well, I run Apple TV to my TV, and then ARC, I guess, out to the WIM.
Oh, always pushes this. Whoa, mine does as well.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's still a $329.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think for everything else that it does as well as it does, I'm like, okay. And I don't really use the volume knob. Like for my use, I don't need it's sitting way far away from me. I use the volume on my remote.
Never touch it ever again. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
I don't know when I'll have that review out though. I was going to try to get it out pretty soon, but now I'm just like, I'm busy using it to like for EQ. It's great. Oh man, it's so awesome. Like when I'm demoing these speakers that I'm reviewing, I'm like, well, that sounds weird. Let me try this. Like I just did those JBLs and I was trying to figure out what it was that I didn't like about it, and I couldn't figure it out. And ultimately, I looked at the data and it was like above 10K, the JBLs just fall off like a cliff. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I go with the WIM and I boost that around like 10 to 20K. I'm like, oh, there it is. There's the sound that I was looking for. And that was it. But, it's just nice to be able to do it with the app rather than plug up a laptop to my mini DSP.
Yeah, I think these types of things, when we're just talking casually about it, not reviewing it even, just saying, hey, this thing is awesome. I think that ends up selling more of these products at the end of the day because people can tell. I think people at the end of the day can tell whether you're telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
essentially.
Right now, we're just like, dude, this thing's awesome. Yeah. The volume knob sucks, but thing's awesome.
Yeah, the volume knob's the only issue. And it's kind of a non-issue, but, it'd be cool if it didn't do that.
Hey, and the headphone, I was surprised, didn't suck. I was expecting it to be like trash.
I didn't even try it.
It has a headphone jack that's a little bit weird because it doesn't switch automatically. Like you have to go in the app and switch to.
Oh, really?
Headphone out.
That's okay, I guess.
But I thought it was gonna be like just garbage, and it wasn't. That's kind of cool.
That's good.
I'm almost thinking that it might be a cool product to put at a desk.
Yeah.
Because the screen is a cool thing.
Yeah.
But at a normal distance, can you really see what's happening on there? Can you tell what artwork is? I'm like,
yeah, I don't
know. Probably not. Just like the Eversolo, you can't. The only streamer where you can see what's going on that stream or on that screen, this $5,000 one that I got sitting over here. Like, I can see that from across the room. Like that shit is awesome.
Is that you got the Rose?
Yeah, the HiFi Rose. Yeah.
Are you about to do an unboxing?
Huh?
Are you about to do an unboxing?
What is?
No, I just sat through one of those, man. You know how I feel about unboxing videos. Now I'm interested. Just the way that you made the face, I'm like, you got me.
You're gonna open its toilet
paper.
Box.
Oh no!
It's a box in a box.
It's your box in a box. Oh, ASMR. This is the worst. What is that?
More boxes. More
What?
what? Oh,
Are
dude,
those-
did I not have scissors
Are
here?
those spatial audio discs?
You better tear into that thing with your nails.
Yeah.
There
man.
you go.
Use your henna tattoo to cut into it.
Somebody talk about cables?
Oh my god.
Can we talk about cables? Are we talking about
those Mogami?
Mogami Gold. All right.
Mogami Gold. So, look at that. It's
All
like a
right.
DVI connector on the end. Oh, that's for like a
okay.
pro audio piece or something.
This is a DB25 cable.
Yeah, man.
DB25
Douchebag
eight.
25.
to 8 XLR females.
Lots of females you got.
That's a lot. I don't know if you can juggle that many.
Okay. All right.
I have to switch everything over to XLR, and I had to spend $1,500 on
Oh,
cables.
that
And
sucks.
that's what this box is.
That sucks.
$1,500 of cables.
You didn't
I mean,
have
at least they're
to. You chose
Mogami.
to spend
Yeah.
$1,500.
Well,
on
I mean,
Mogami
I
Gold cable.
got all this equipment here, and I could like do a nice little photo shoot, but I can't use the damn equipment if I don't have the damn cables.
I'm just saying you didn't have to buy those. I bought some inexpensive ones just because. Here's my thinking. I do have Mogami Gold for this long run, but for a run that's like this far, bro. I think it's
you know, Joe, you know what you said about the level of the speakers and then the AV10. So the level of this equipment that's here,
Okay.
it requires a little bit better than the $200 snakes.
I'm not gonna get into financial talk with you. Don't try to set me up. Don't
Yeah.
you dare. But Aaron,
Yeah.
you could talk to Aaron about relationship advice
No,
afterwards.
don't even start with me. I don't want to hear nothing.
Woo!
I don't want to hear no financial advice. I don't want to hear advice
Oh.
about the ladies. I don't want to hear no advice.
How about cable advice?
Not even audio
Let's
advice.
call
I don't
this-
want to hear it.
Let's call this portion cable advice.
Let me see what kind of
Buy the
all
expensive
cables?
cable
The whole
because
thing?
that's what you want to do.
That makes sense. Because without cables, you don't have sound.
You can't.
So all of those are those cables?
No,
Every single one?
there's different ones. I have to get 2 of each. So this one is the DB25 to XLR male. This is the DB to 25 XLR female. So I have 2 of each, and then I need 2 DB25 to DB25s. Essentially, what is happening here is I will be taking in 32 channels of analog audio and outputting 16 channels of analog audio. Ha! Why, you ask? Because
I didn't ask.
it is. What a dick! What a dick! You're supposed to just say, "Watch out!"
Oh, sorry. Why, Chana? Why?
Man, I'm not gonna tell you now. Shit.
Listen, Joe is still counting up how many channels this tone winner has.
No,
He's like, I don't believe it.
no. I'm just wondering.
Bro, bring back the box. That was tough to say. There we
No,
go.
I
Now
just
put
thought
it back
about.
on the ground. I don't want to see it anymore.
I was just thinking. Have you guys, Shauna? Did you hear that the Mac is going to allow HDMI pass through, or not HDMI? Audio pass through. So Dolby Atmos pass through, meaning via
On the
HDMI.
Mac?
Supposedly,
Via HDMI?
yeah,
No.
supposedly,
With what source?
because that's a big deal, isn't it, for us?
With what source?
Via HDMI output on your Mac.
No. But is it a special app that allows you to do it?
That's the tricky part, right? So it works on their TV app, right? And their Apple Music app. So the stuff that they have that's Atmos, you may be able to do HDMI out to your AVR, and it will show up as Atmos.
Huh?
Kind of a big deal.
Interesting. Here's the other one, the DB25 to DB25.
All right.
So right now, with my audio interface attached to the laptop, I can go into Apple Music and it'll play that stuff in Atmos through my audio interface already. So it has some sort of technology to output Atmos, right? But it's not doing it through HDMI right now. You look confused. This is very easy to understand, Joe.
No, I was reading something, so I kind of missed a bit.
16
Oh yeah,
channels.
it looked like you were reading or constipated. I don't know.
Same thing.
A little both.
A little bit of both. So I can listen to Apple Music, the app, in Atmos when my audio interface is connected to the laptop. So it'll output 16 channels, and I'll see all the different channels light up because it has 16, in the.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah. So the fact that they're going to do it with HDMI is actually pretty cool, but of course it's only going to be for Apple apps and Apple products, right?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of tricky because then you can drag and drop MP4 with Dolby Atmos via Dolby Digital Plus JOC. You can drag that into the TV app.
Oh, okay.
So it's just an extra stupid step instead of just opening up with QuickTime.
But then that's good for people like you and me, but like the standard person doesn't have the access to those kinds of files, really.
I don't know. They might be able to download some, I guess. Movies.
What happened, Aaron? Something run by your foot?
It was a gnat. I think I
It
got
was
it.
a rat. You got a rat.
If that's the case, though, if that's the case, and somebody wants to do like an Atmos studio on the cheap, they could probably get something like this AT300. If it's HDMI out, I mean, you could do it with a PC already, right? With the Dolby Access app, and have it go into this, and then this will go into your studio stuff. It's kind of a cheap setup. Anyway, let's answer this last question and
answer the last question. I gotta go to sleep. I'm tired.
All right.
Old.
He's tired.
Really?
I'm
Really?
old, man. I'm tired.
You know what I'm gonna do after this? I'm gonna go walk 3 fucking miles, bro. Because that's what I'm talking about, bro.
Why don't you run it?
We're in it,
baby.
We're in it. It's fucking life 2.0. Let's go.
You got to try my cold plunge though next time you're around, Chana. I want to see if you can handle.
Man, I gotta we gotta do this birthday. We gotta test. I gotta bring this hard drive. Now I gotta take a cold ass bath at your place. What?
This is getting weird, guys. Let's keep this thing
weird.
Are there any audible differences between using towers and subs or equivalent bookshelves and subs if you cross both over at 80 hertz?
We just answered that question.
Did we answer that question?
Yes, we did.
Dynamic range. Okay, we're done.
We did because it was
did
like
that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
So, hold on a second. Let me share. Present, share, window.
Don't play the whole thing.
There. Subwoofers and bookshelves are just towers. I'll link to it. So I will link to that. Boom.
That works.
Share.
I like it.
Share, copy, and I'll post it right here. There you go.
Good timing.
Yep. Well, thank you guys.
Yes.
That was a fun show as always.
Thank you on behalf of Tim. We say thank you.
Oh yeah.
Super chats for helping him and his lady go do somewhere nice, except that's not Red Lobster. Good God, I butchered that sentence. Let me try it again. Tim will say thank you for all the super chats so that he can go to somewhere nicer than Red Lobster.
Fantastic. You did
all
it.
Right,
buddy.
look at me.
You did it, boss.
This is why I don't do the intros or the outros. Hey.
Give it up for Aaron. It's 10:30 where you're at, huh? Is that why
I owe
past your bedtime, little boy?
$102. $102. You're gonna have a nice dinner. That's gonna be something. Man. That's gonna be as fancy as Chana's dinners.
It is. That's gonna be nice.
What? Dude, you should have seen what the fuck happened yesterday, man. I didn't get any work done. And it's not even my birthday. Next week is my birthday. I don't know what the hell is gonna happen that Monday. Damn.
I'll treat you to McDonald's.
Yeah, happy early birthday. Hey man, you fly out to Alabama and I'll take you to Red Lobster.
Yay.
Actually, they closed around here, so never mind.
That's exactly what. Let's fly to Alabama. And then we'll probably we might get into a car accident on the way.
No, we won't, because it'll be my car and I care about it. Listen, I'll take you to see Deadpool and we'll go see that together.
Hey, you should
Oh yeah.
Slip some of those shrooms into his drink or something.
I will. I'll do that.
He needs.
Dude, we got some killer shrooms around here too.
No, I think he was saying me do that to you, bro.
Oh,
You
don't do
that.
that to me. I mean, I know people. If you need some,
That's what you get for doing the whole thing with the car situation. You owe him.
think y'all make it sound so dramatic. It wasn't even that bad. We just
Dude,
stopped on
Tim
the
was
train
freaking
tracks.
out. So
Not a
was
big
Darla.
deal.
Like it was not.
No trains coming. We were in a car that could easily move out of the way. I think.
Oh man.
Good times.
Hey, if you guys want some merch and you want to represent at the next audio show, let people know that you're part of the Daily Hi-Fi Crew and you know what's up and that you're an awesome person. Then yeah, you can go and support. And
Right.
what else? What else we got, Chana?
If you want to listen to us instead of looking at our ugly mugs, go to anchor.fm/Daily HiFi to listen to the podcast. And make sure you sign up to become part of the crew at crew.dailyhifi.com and enter into the after show, which clearly Aaron's not going to be involved in right now. He's going to go to
While
sleep.
y'all are talking.
It's past his bedtime, little
It
boy.
is past my bedtime.
Yeah. And on behalf of myself, Aaron, and Joe, thank you for hanging out. If you are watching on the replay, make sure you come by the actual showtime, ask your questions live, and obviously have a shit ton of fun with the three of us. On that note,
And
we'll
by the
see you in
way,
the next one.
you said